Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our third installment of the Division Showcase series. Tonight, we have some really awesome folks joining us from the Humanities, Fine Arts, and Social Sciences Division. So my name is Kenna Warren, and I am an admissions counselor, and I'm going to go ahead and let these folks introduce themselves. You guys could tell us what your name and your title is, if you're affiliated with a particular program from the division, and briefly, how did you end up at WVUP? If you're a student, please share what year you are and what program you are in. And I'm going to pass it to Barbie to start us off.
Hi, I'm Barbara Dunbar. I'm also an admissions counselor here for WVU at Parkersburg, and I'm going to help navigate through questions tonight as well as provide some general college information.
Liv, you want to take us off? You're at the top of the screen for me.
Sure. Hi, my name is Olivia Reeder. I'm the Director of Public Affairs and Experiential Learning, and I'm the past coordinator of the Communication and Media Studies program, which is actually what brought me to WVUP back in 2010 as a student. So I'm a 2013 alumna of the college as well.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Harrison. I'm the radio station manager for WPKM College Radio Station. I'm also an instructor under the Communication and Media Studies program. I'm also an alumna. I graduated from WVP as well.
Okay, I'm Dave Thompson. I'm the division chair, Humanities, Fine Arts, and Social Sciences. I also teach psychology and I teach electronic engineering technology. So all the programs are in this division, but I kind of work with the Associate of Arts and the MDS degree.
I am Alicia Matheny Beeson. I'm an assistant professor of English. And while I took a class here at WVUP while I was in high school, I attended other universities and moved out of state for graduate school and then came back about 3 years ago when I got the position at WVUP. And I'm happy to be back.
I'm Logan Mace. I am the new program coordinator for the CMS programs, and I'm also a full-time instructor here at the college. I started out as a student a long time ago, back 2009, 2010. So I'm an alum as well. And I had the opportunity to come back, so I did.
And I think our last person is James, if you want to share a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm James Dobbs. I'm a senior at WVUP. I'm working towards my bachelor's in communications and media studies. I live in Ripley and I wanted to find a school with a good program that was close to my home.
Awesome. So just to reiterate some of the programs that are part of Humanities, Fine Arts, and Social Sciences, we have a General Studies Associate of Arts, Communication and Media Studies, Digital Communication, Digital Media Production, Multidisciplinary Studies, and then also a Strategic Communication program. So for those of you that are associated with one of these particular programs, can you share a little bit about what students are learning in the program and what type of careers these programs are preparing them for? And I'm going to start with Olivia again, just because she's at the top of my screen.
Well, actually, so Logan, do you want to take a stab at this first? And if you miss anything, I'll just jump in. This is technically his realm now. Hello? Okay. I can go ahead and start talking about it until Logan gets volume back. So I'm the past coordinator of the Communication and Media Studies program, and what we work on is strategic communication and digital communication. So the two differences there is that strategic communication is a lot more on the idea of event planning and writing and things like that. So any large company has some sort of strategic communication, and small businesses too, because you have to have a plan if you want to be successful. And even I'm probably talking to a few high school students out here, you know, you have to have a plan. You may have worked on SMART goals in the past. that's a lot of what we do, is focus on how to have goals, objectives, things like that. And then we also have the digital communication, which is where our fun, awesome radio station comes into play, 96.3 FM. You might be able to tune in where you are, but you can't always find that online. So our students go on to be writers for newspapers. They go on to be photographers, freelancers, work for nonprofits. What I like to say is there is really no job where being a good communicator won't serve you better than people who are poor communicators. So I highly recommend it. Jeremy, do you have anything you'd like to add about digital?
Yeah, in digital communication, we focus more on the broadcast world. So we do radio shows, podcasts. We tell digital stories, basically. So it's a lot of digital storytelling. Crucial tool in the CMS toolbox. So also, I'm heading up the digital media program, which is a more in-depth glimpse into the digital production industry. We have a live tracking room, 2 isolation booths, 1 for percussion, and a mixing booth that will offer all aspects of a traditional and professional recording studio for both audio and video editing. Students will get hands-on training with broadcast switchers, multicam video shoots, industry standard consoles for live and studio production. But that's it. I can't hear Logan.
Still nothing.
I can hear him now.
Oh, hey. Okay. Well, I think I'm tardy to the party now, but yeah, I think you covered everything.
I can talk a little bit about the AA and the MDS degrees. I was going to try the thing Logan pulled and just pretend like I was muted, but I'll go ahead and talk. So the Associate of Arts and the Multidisciplinary Studies degrees are both designed for transfer into another college program. The Associate of Arts is a 2-year transfer degree. And what we can do is, we have a lot of good 4-year programs. We don't have them all. So if you know that you're going to need to go to WVU or Marshall or some other 4-year college to get the degree that you want, you can get the first year or the first 2 years at our school and take a lot of those gen ed courses that you're going to need no matter where you go. Things like English, psychology, speech, history, those types of courses. And you can earn that degree here and then transfer those courses and credits into your 4-year program and save you quite a bit of money. Also, a lot of students aren't sure. They want to go to college, but they're not exactly sure what they want to do when they get here. So the DAA serves as a little bit of a place for a holding pattern. While you earn in that first semester, you're earning credits in your gen ed courses that are going to apply just about no matter what direction you go. You won't have taken courses that won't apply to that degree. So the multidisciplinary or MDS degree is designed for transfer into graduate programs. It is a 4-year degree that we offer. And you can take a lot of the prerequisite courses as well as the gen ed courses here at WVUP and then transfer into a 4-year program. I've got one student in biomedicine. Some students have gone into biology. One went in marine biology, med school, and programs like that we obviously don't offer here at our college, but prepares you for success in those. And again, at considerable savings. And also you have to think about when you're taking courses here, either in the Associate of Arts or in the MDS, some of those courses you're going to have to take no matter where you go. But if you're taking chemistry or English, do you want to take that course in a room with like 200 people, 100, 200 other people in that classroom, and you've got a teaching assistant teaching you, or be in a classroom that's close to home, that has maybe 15, 20 students in the classroom? You have a professional faculty, and you're getting a more personalized and more attention in those studies. I mean, you actually can acquire more here than you would in those larger classes at the larger universities. And that is all.
Real quick, Kenna, could I talk again about our program? I wanted to add something to it. Okay, so one of the important parts about our program is that we highly value experiential learning. And if you've never worked with experiential learning before, it's a chance to do hands-on learning experience while you're actually doing the project. So you might be actually planning an event, but that event will come to fruition. And the same thing with the radio station. And there's lots of studies out there that experiential learning will give you a better outcome, and you'll already be experienced by the time you go into the work field. So that's one of the things we pride our program on, is that our students graduate with experience.
I second that.
Absolutely. That's a really great overview of each of the programs, way better than I could have done. So thank you guys for sharing a little bit more. My first question that is going to kind of kick us off to get a little bit more in depth about fees and about you guys as the faces of WVUP is about the topics that you guys cover in your class. So if you are an instructor, what's your favorite topic to cover in your classes? And if you are a student or alumni, what was your favorite topic to cover? And I'm going to start with a pretty familiar face to a lot of us and maybe also those watching, Mr. Tyler Hilbert, who is an alum of WVUP.
Hi. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Hi. So yeah, I'm an alumni from WVUP, and I'm from Ripley, West Virginia. I just got my degree in communication and media studies last May. But I think that one of my favorite, there were so many different things that were my favorite part of my program, but I would definitely say one of my top favorites was my strategic marketing class that I had with Olivia, which actually in this class, you create a social media marketing plan for a company or for a business. And if you're in the Parkersburg area, it could be a business close to you there, or I chose a business close in my hometown in Ripley, and you create a social media marketing plan for them, and then you actually pitch this idea to them. And, there's a possibility that they may love your idea and actually go with it. So that was one of the most amazing classes that I had. Another one that I really loved was intercultural communications, where we learned about, how different cultures and microcultures communicate. So there's a lot of different things and subfields in the category that you're learning about.
James, do you want to share about what your favorite topic you've learned about so far?
Yeah, honestly, I was going to talk about the same class that Tyler talked about, because we had that class together. I really didn't know how much went into running a social media account for a company until I had that class, and it's really eye-opening. Another class I enjoyed was the second level of that class, where we got to create our own podcast. And we got to pick any topic we want. We just got really creative with it, and it was just a really fun experience.
Who wants to share first about what their favorite class to teach is, or their favorite topic to teach?
I'll go real quick. I like nerding out on high-end audio equipment in my digital audio production class. So I may not show it now. I don't have a cool microphone or anything, but we do talk about that in class, and bit rates and hertz and all that stuff. So just thought I'd add that.
My primary area of study when I was in school was American literature. So that's probably my favorite classes to teach. And the last few years I've been teaching American Lit 1 and American Lit 2. And I love talking about the diversity of writers that we get to explore in those classes. And then in my writing classes, one of my favorite things to teach is rhetorical analysis. And we engage with a lot of real world text, music videos, and tweets, and speeches and advertisements and consider the persuasiveness of different arguments and how to make effective arguments for audiences.
Guess I'll go next. So one of my favorite things to teach is basically probably my photography class, because I get a lot of students who come in and think they have an idea of what photography is, but they don't really treat it like it's a storytelling opportunity, and that's how I teach it. So it's interesting to see people who hate it and are just taking it because they have to end up enjoying it by the end of it, or people who think of photography at a certain way, and by the end, the end of the class, they have a completely different perspective on what photography is. So I really enjoy that part of it.
I can go. So my favorite class to teach is actually the class that Tyler and James both spoke about. It's a whole lot of fun to teach social media and get people to realize that there is a method to the madness of social media. Things that pop up in your feed aren't just there because you think maybe Alexa or Siri are listening to you. There's a reason for those things, and there's a way you can learn to control it and how you can be on the other end of it. And we spend the first 8 weeks learning about that, learning about branding videos and things that really pull people in, and why we are the consumers that we are, and how social media affects that. And then the last 8 weeks of the course are the tables are turned and you become the social media machine, and you learn how to manipulate it and run it. And you do create those goals and strategies and what would work and what wouldn't work. And at the end, there's a competition between the two teams, and it's a really big deal, and they have to dress up and present, and the business comes in. And we've had a lot of really cool stuff. We had one time a food truck. We did it for a food truck, and he came in and he fed both of the teams, and he picked a social media plan that he wanted to use. And it was really cool. And it was definitely a experiential learning time for them, because they were nervous. But it was really cool. I had fun.
I guess I'd just like to say that I'm kind of fortunate that I can teach two different things. I teach psychology and electricity. And to facilitate learning in the classroom, I find I can use psychology on my electricity students, and I can use electricity on my psychology students. And I find that the latter is more effective.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys all for sharing a little bit more about your classrooms or the classes that you have enjoyed being a part of. Olivia did touch on this a little bit before, but I want to go a little bit further in depth about the different types of hands-on learning that are offered as a part of these programs. So Liv, can you share a little bit more about the experiential learning, not only maybe like the marketing interns, but across the board? And then Tyler, I would like for you to touch on the internship that you have been a part of.
Yeah.
Sure, I would be happy to talk about that. So like I said, experiential learning is the chance to learn while you are still in college. And it's really great because you get this chance to possibly make mistakes and learn things, and people know you're a student and they're going to guide you. So it's not your first job. And as you can see, we have a student here working on one of the mannequins in the nursing unit. And obviously we'd rather them learn on that than a real human at the time. So it's one of those really great things where you can kind of learn as you go. Currently, we have 3 marketing interns. We usually have 5, but we are down right now because we had 2 of them graduate, and they're both working, and that's great for them, and we're very happy. James is actually one of our marketing interns, and they do everything that is asked of them within the marketing department. So within institutional advancement, they're expected to write press releases, they're expected to do photography, plan events, all sorts of things like that. We are expanding experiential learning, and we are hoping to have experiential learning options available within each division. And that will probably be happening this fall is when we're expecting that. So there will be options for students across all platforms to have this experience that we can really give to them, that I will say not all other colleges can, because we're small and we're hands-on, and our student to instructor ratio is low. And we have this ability to give our students something really special that you might not get when you have to go to that classroom like Dave talked about that has 200 students in it taught by a TA. So consider that. We also, what else did you want me to talk about, Kenna? Sorry, I went on a tangent because I got really into it.
I think you covered it. I just wanted to share more about that experiential learning opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a great program, and it looks so good on a resume.
Tyler, do you want to share about your externship experience?
So when I was in school, my junior year, I actually had the opportunity to be a part of the legislative journalism internship, which is a program that they have at the West Virginia State Legislature for you to work in the Office of Reference and Information. And what you do is, so you'll write blog posts and sit in and take notes on committee meetings and floor sessions for the House and the Senate. But you're gathering information about everything that's going on during the legislative session and compiling that information into daily updates so that the public can keep up with what's going on in the legislature, but also you're putting it into your own words so that you can make it easier to understand for, just an average everyday person that's reading it that doesn't know about, some oil lease on somebody's property and the laws that surround that. And it's really interesting, and I had a wonderful time doing it. But I honestly don't think I would have been able to be a part of that program if it hadn't been for me deciding to go to WVU Parkersburg. Olivia and Dr. Tori Jackson actually really helped me, with all of my classes, helped to make it so that I could, do all my classes online, and reach out to other divisions to help me, with my classes and everything. So really it's thanks to WVUP that I was able to have that experience, and it served me for all the better in my working experience and with my school.
Awesome. Can somebody touch on some of the different learning spaces that are associated with your programs, and the cool equipment that they have the opportunity to use if they choose a humanities, fine arts, and social sciences major?
Jeremy, you're muted.
Okay, my space bar must have broke. So we have a Mac lab. I think we're the only Mac lab on the campus, which has all the industry standard software that you would need in the industry of communication, media studies, Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Audition, InDesign, stuff like that. It's also where our radio station is housed, where we use a industry standard RE55 console. It's a 10-channel console. And across the way, we've just finished building the recording studio that I mentioned earlier, that will eventually have all industry standard equipment in the digital media production industry. So yeah, we're special. Also, that helps with the hands-on and experiential learning that students get. So they get to use the equipment that you would be using in real life if you're, actually on the job. So.
Awesome, thank you. I'm actually going to pick on you a little bit again, Jeremy. One of the questions that we get asked a lot are, what are some of the different ways that students can get involved outside of the classroom? And one of my favorite things to bring up is our radio station. Can you share a little bit about that?
Okay, so we have an LPFM radio station, and since we're a non-commercial radio station, we have leniency to kind of play what we want. So we don't have to do commercials. So, and it's not just open to students in the CMS program. I mean, any student at WVUP can shoot me an email and contact me about a radio show. It just depends on what they want to play. As long as it's FCC friendly, then we're good with it. But we're an eclectic radio station. We're free form, which means we can play whatever we want, whenever we want. Block programming, so you can hear heavy metal 1 hour and maybe some light jazz the next hour, or some indie college rock the next hour. So, but yeah, students can just reach out to me at my email address or on Facebook or something like that.
I could talk a little bit about the makerspace too on campus. So other ways that the students can get involved, and one way that I'm going to try to hopefully get my own students involved is with the makerspace on campus. And a lot of people don't even know it exists. So it's open to the public, but I'm trying to get more students actually through the door to utilize the makerspace. And the makerspace is just a community area where people can go and make things. And it can be relevant to the CMS program. And I'm trying to tie the two together because maybe you need to create some graphical element or some thing with your design on it. And this is a good way to have that physical object to represent whatever it is. So it's a place where people can just go, students especially, to do something creative or fun or learn something new. And it's open to anybody.
Awesome. I know Logan has helped me with a couple of small projects in the makerspace, and it's always a fun place to be, and also just a really cool space to see the creativity that flows through the different faces of WVUP and the different projects that people have going on. Let's talk a little bit about the Media and Communications Club. Who can share a little bit about that?
I can start, hopefully,
go
and then Liv, you can add to. It's just it's a club for students who are in the CMS program and people who are obviously like-minded. They get together, host meetings. It's formalized and plan events, go on trips, explore things within the media kind of fields, different things like that, and Liv, pick up where I'm leaving off here.
Okay, so the Media and Communication Club, it's really fun, I would like to say, which is one of the most important things for student organizations. They need to be fun, and we have to know why we're doing them. And the reason we have the Media and Communication Club is that we want our students to be able to take what they've learned in the classroom and have fun with it. So for them, fun is planning events and doing fundraisers and things like that. So in the past, we've done Field Fest, and we had 2 adult size inflatables where you could run an obstacle course. There were Nerf guns within one of them. Kona Ice was there, and this was all free to our students. There was concessions. They had football, volleyball. It was a lot of fun, and they actually had a huge turnout, much more than they expected, which is a really big deal for them because since they are media and communication students, they had to have a strategic plan to be able to host this event. So I had to approve that, and they had to come up with it because it is a completely student-run organization. I am there for them for support, but they lead it themselves. They also did a trunk or treat, which brought in close to 1,000 community and campus members. So everyone set up their cars and they decorated it, and we had awards, and they host, and it's escaping me right now, the thing we do in the fall. What's the thing we do in the fall? The name of it. Jeremy? Nest Fest. Thank you. Yes.
Nest Fest.
I cannot think of the name of that. So there's a different day. Everyone can dress up. There's a competition for that. There's a spirit stick, and there's usually a chili cook-off, some sort of other cook-off, and it's free, and there's always food, but it's completely governed by the students. So they get to do a bunch of really cool things, and they get to learn along the way. And I used to be the faculty member who ran that, now it's Logan, but it was one of the highlights of my career. They did get Club of the Year in 2019, I believe. And it was a really big deal for everyone. And I'm super proud of them and everything they've accomplished. So with that, also, they go on trips. So they've been to Washington, D.C., to Cleveland, to Nashville, and we learn and do things along the way. We saw where Blake Shelton recorded, or I think it was Blake Shelton where he records. We got to walk on Broadway in Nashville, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We went to DC. We saw the museum before it shut down. So again, it's lots of fundraising, lots of learning, and lots of fun.
Jeremy and Tyler, weren't you both part of this?
Yes, I was just about
Jeremy,
to say
you were
one
there
of
at
my
the
favorite
beginning.
parts.
Yep.
One of my favorite parts from the MAC Club, one of the best fundraisers in my opinion, is whenever they would do tacos in a bag on campus just randomly, and it would brighten your day, make your day 1,000 times better.
I second the tacos as well.
We love
Also-
a good taco in a bag fundraiser.
Yeah.
Another opportunity for folks to get involved is with the Poorhouse Rag, which is a literary and art journal that we've been creating. We've made 2 issues over the last 2 years, and so we're working on making our 3rd right now. So if you're faculty, staff, student, or alumni currently, please submit. We take children's fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and artwork. And so the goal is really twofold: to remember the history of the land that our campus is built on, which used to be the Wood County Poor Farm, and then to celebrate the current works of the people involved at the college. And so this year, the focus is social justice. And so we're looking for lots of work related to that. And we usually have a Poorhouse Week in the fall, where we have speakers and we have readings from the journal itself. And we're hoping to create a creative writing club and eventually make the journal more student run. And so we're looking for students who are interested in getting involved with more of the selection and production of the journal as well.
Awesome. Those are all great student opportunities to keep the students engaged. Next, we want to move on to what types of support structures the college has in place to ensure that our students are successful here. I want to have Kenna start off and discuss some of our student activities.
Absolutely. So you guys have heard a little bit about Mac Club and some of the other different activities. WVU Parkersburg actually has about 20 different clubs and organizations that students can be a part of outside of their classes. You don't have to be a part of a particular program to be a part of any of those, and they range from everything from Media and Communications Club to Eco Hawks. They've got a board game group, so a little bit of everything. And then we also have this really awesome student activities coordinator that puts on different events throughout the year and hasn't let COVID slow her down at all. We did a drive-up event in the fall with trivia, where people came and sat in their cars, and we broadcasted trivia over the radio station and gave out some cool prizes and some free food. And one of the most recent activities that we've had included doing a 2nd season of WVUP's Got Talent. If you guys are into that, the season finale is actually posted on our Facebook page as well. Definitely go check that out and see some of the other students at WVUP showing us their talent. I'm going to pass it back over to Barbie to share our next resource.
Yeah, absolutely. On campus for our current students, we have a Riverhawk food pantry. It's a great resource so we can make sure that none of our students struggle or have to worry about not having food if they're going through difficult times. All they need to do is make a confidential request and ask for the assistance through our Center of Student Support Services. With that, they can have the arrangements made to pick up their items through our main campus at Parkersburg or down through the Jackson County Center.
The Professional Advising Center is another great resource for students. It has 5 different advisors who specialize in the different divisions across our campus, so they can provide a lot of helpful information about the different programs that we offer and the courses that are required for those, and can help students get signed up for those courses for the first 30 credit hours that a student would take. And right now they're meeting with folks virtually or in person, so there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can meet one of the advisors to find out more about the programs and work on getting signed up for classes.
Center. Career Services is a great resource to help students normally in their senior years to start, kind of putting themselves out there and looking for jobs. They also host career fairs that go on, which are great opportunities for students and for the community to just meet employers that and get their names out there so that they can possibly, find jobs and careers. But normally students go there to, you can get resources on resume, workshops. They can help you with interview skills, figuring out what kind of, your weaknesses and strengths might be in an interview. And they don't only help like students, they also can help alumni. And I can even speak from experience that my mom is an alum from WVUP and reached out to the Career Services Center, and they helped her with her resume and gave her some advice on what she should do in her job. So they're a really great center that students can utilize.
I'd like to take a minute to talk about the tutoring center. It's great. It's free for students who are struggling and need help. The tutoring is done by other students who have taken the classes before that have had a high grade in that class. So they're going to know what you're going through. The testing center is also great. I know testing can be stressful. The testing center will help you retake tests that you've done poorly on, and they'll help you get a better grade on it.
Just going to give a quick shout out to one of our student support services with our counseling services through Kurt Klettner. So you can go to Klettner at WVUP or Klettner1 at WVUP.edu. I offer an array of services. I know everybody would like to talk to somebody during this COVID issues. So also chiming in again about the radio station, WPKM 96.3 The Beat.
I guess I'll cut in here. We also have the veteran services. So we have a good resource for veterans on campus and their families. It was ranked the 2020 best colleges, or WVP was ranked the 2020 best colleges for vets by Military Times. So we have about 200 veterans on campus, and it provides them with assistance with filling out the GI Bill, kind of acting as a liaison between the student, the campus, and departments, the VA, and different agencies outside of the campus as well. So it's just a good resource for the support that maybe the veterans need to get the education and for their families as well.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the Wellness Center. And the Wellness Center is one of the coolest places on campus, but a lot of people don't go to it as much as they should. Right now, our gym is closed down, but if it weren't, we did recently have a full upgrade of equipment. So there are all sorts of options there to get an entire workout in. You can ditch your gym membership, your $20 a month to Planet Fitness, and you can actually just go work out at the college. We also have a yoga room, and I believe right now one of our instructors is doing free yoga for students, and you can actually take it as one of your credits. So you could take yoga as an elective. She has a like a meditation labyrinth that she takes out sometimes. We do have a full gym, so there's basketball available. Sometimes the ping pong tables are out. There's all sorts of options, and Pamela Sanner is our wellness coordinator, and she does a great job with all sorts of wellness questions and comments and concerns. So if you have any of those, or you want to know how to use the labyrinth for meditation, if you have any questions about how to use the gym equipment, go give her a shout out, and she would love to help you.
All right, Dave, can you share a little bit about where maybe some of your alumni are now employed since they've graduated, and maybe a little bit about the Alumni Association?
Yeah, that's a tough one because when students graduate, a lot of times we don't hear from them because they're out doing their thing. And a lot of the people that graduated with the Associate of Arts and NDS are still in school. They've transferred and they're working on those programs. And I've graduated from like 4 different colleges, and I think the only one that keeps track of me is the one I'm at now, and they keep a pretty close eye on me. They're probably watching now. So, Nancy Harris is in charge of the association, and she does a really good job of keeping track. She has some events that she organizes. But as far as out of this division, well, you heard Liv was an alum of a former version of our program, And we have somebody that's the marketing manager at a local organization who graduated from the CMS programs. Some of the students I know are about to graduate. One's about to graduate from Marshall with a biomed degree. So they're out there doing their thing.
Can I jump in and say, we did recently realize that nearly half the staff at the News and Sentinel are graduates from our program right now.
Yeah, and I know that there are at least one, maybe two doctors that work at Camden that graduated from the MDS program at WVUP and then went on to medical school. So that's kind of cool to see their journey and how they're helping our local community now. Since we do have a pretty healthy handful of current students and alumni that are with us tonight, what I'd like to ask you guys, do you feel that WVP prepared you or is preparing you for a career outside once you graduate? Obviously, you guys all work here, you're very established in your careers, but when you were studying or if you're a current student, do you feel that you're getting the skills that you need to be successful?
I can answer that first. So I graduated in 2013 and I went on to the IMC program, which is a master's in integrated marketing communication at WVU. And I had my bachelor's degree, but a lot of people had their bachelor's degree and a lot more experience than I had. And after we finished our first course, I was one of the few left over. Logan went through that course too. They kind of use it to weed out the bad writers. And I was one of the best writers in the program throughout. And I wouldn't have had that if I didn't have a particular CMS coordinator, Dr. Tori Jackson, who beat all bad writing skills out of me by bleeding out red pens on my paper over and over again. But it turned out that that was one of the best things that could have happened to me because I graduated magna cum laude from that program in a year and a half when it took a lot of people a lot longer time. And I truly 100% accredit that to WVUP's education for me.
I'm going to piggyback off Liv here because we have a similar story. But I think so too, because I came from WVUP as a student originally and went on to WVU for my master's, just like Liv did. But it did the same thing for me. I became such a better writer at my time at WVU Parkersburg, and it has been probably one of the most beneficial aspects of me being a professional, since being a student, is being a good communicator and a good writer. And I got all that from WVU Parkersburg. And it also pushed me because I was non-traditional, and WVU Parkersburg really, supports non-traditional students, that it prepared me. It allowed me to have all the resources that I need to succeed, and it motivated me. So like Liv, I completed the IMC program at WVU in 1 year, and it's a 2-year program. So it just really is something that you get a lot of preparation for. And now, of course, now I'm here. So yeah, I think it does really prepare you for real life.
It set the bar for what education should be as well when I move forward into a master's program, what I should expect from my instructors, the communication, and all sorts of things like that. So and obviously we both came back to work here, so we seem to enjoy it.
My experience like as a student, but graduating, but like we were just saying about those writing skills. I mean, I have my fair share of the red ink on my papers that I turned in. No Oxford comma in journalistic writing. I carry that still. But yeah, like there are so many different ways that your classes shape you for the careers that you want to go in. Currently, I work at a law firm here in Charleston, and I'm living here. But I mean, even with that, like, there are other opportunities too in which you experience professionals. And, I was lucky enough to work at the college in the Center for Student Services. And that prepares you in so many ways as well for, a professional experience. And especially for people that are going to be students that, maybe haven't worked at a job other than, food services or retail. That helps prepare them for, the world where they might be going into a corporate office or, going into media studies. So I definitely think that it helped me.
James, I'm going to pick on you a little bit since you are a current student and you are pretty involved on campus. Can you share what the deciding factor was for you to go ahead and attend at WVP?
Yeah, for me, the deciding factor was how close to home it was. It lets me go to school and stay close to my family. I can get an education while being able to watch my children grow up. It's also very cost efficient, which is very nice.
Absolutely. And I think that a question that a lot of students have when they are looking at different schools is the cost and how they're going to afford their education. Barbie, can you share some of the different financial assistance programs we have here at WVP that students can take advantage of to help pay for their school?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll hit on three main types of financial assistance for students. First and foremost, we encourage all students to start off by applying for their FAFSA as early as possible. The FAFSA is your free application for federal student aid. It's quite an easy process. You just need to get started by visiting the FAFSA.gov website, or there is an app you can download through the mobile app store of My Student Aid. You'll complete the form. You'll need to just provide your basic personal information and tax documents if you filed to do so. Once you get that completed, or if you need assistance, the FAFSA here on campus, we have financial aid counselors who can provide assistance. As far as what FAFSA can offer, it has an array of forms of grants, work study opportunities, as well as federal loans that you could be eligible for. Second topic we'll discuss is West Virginia Invests. The West Virginia Invest is a last dollar in financial aid program that helps cover basic tuition and fee costs for certain certificate and associate degree programs that are in high demand fields. This grant program does require some eligibility requirements to qualify and to remain eligible, which Kenna, can you pull those requirements up on the screen? And in addition to the requirements that you'll see on your screen now, you know, this particular grant program is for residents of West Virginia, and it goes into extensive, you know, general degree requirements, as well as some eligibility requirements of GPA in order to remain eligible. But it also covers, from what we've outlined tonight, a few of our humanities, fine arts, and social sciences degrees.
Absolutely. Sorry, I lost my mouse there for a minute. Apologize about that. So yeah, West Virginia Invest is a great program. It is a last dollar in program. So the way that works is after you've applied for FAFSA, if there is still some need, it will cover the cost of your tuition. And then at WVP, we do have two mandatory fees that come out to about $50, and it does cover those two fees as well. And due to COVID, they haven't been requiring a community service requirement. They do have a 2-hour per semester community service requirement. But what's really awesome about most of the programs at WVP is that's almost built into the curriculum with all of the different activities that they have going on. So Barbie, can you tell the lovely people that are watching how they could become a student? What are the steps to do that?
Sure. We've made that process fairly easy. It's just a few steps. First and foremost, you'll need to submit your application. You can visit the website listed on your screen to do so, and it is free to apply. Once you get that taken care of, again, we encourage you to go ahead and fill out the FAFSA for your free application for federal student aid. And then from there, we can start the process of having you send in your transcripts from high school, if needed, as well as any testing scores that you have. And then from there, you'll look for information from us so we can get you scheduled to come in and start the process of getting advised.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we wrap up a little bit, I do want to go ahead and ask one final question of everybody. And that is for all of the people who are tuning in tonight and sharing some time with us, maybe even their spring break, what is one thing that you want students to know about the programs that you guys work in, about the Humanities, Fine Arts, and Social Sciences Division, or just about WVUP in general that makes this campus and this community unique?
I can start. So one thing that stuck out to me when I was a student, and I think it's still true to this day, actually it's even better than it was, is that it almost feels like it's a family. And especially true for things like the CMS programs, because they're kind of smaller. You get to know everybody, you get to really hang out, communicate regularly, no, usually, and it just feels like a family. You get comfortable. And when you're in that kind of environment, you really thrive in a lot of different ways, in a lot of ways that you didn't expect. And I think that's one thing that I wish everybody knew or understood about WVP, and especially the CMS program, because that's what I'm most familiar with, is that it's really a comfortable place where you can just be yourself and, grow.
I'll add to that. I will say where you choose to go to college is going to be one of the biggest decisions of your life, and you need to take it really seriously. And while it is tempting to go away to one of maybe the bigger colleges where there's parties and all sorts of things, keep in mind that you are laying the foundation for the rest of your life by choosing what degree program you're in and where you go to college. And if you have a college picked out and it's one of the big colleges and it's far away and that's where you want to go, then more power to you. And I encourage you and I'm rooting for you. But I want you to remember that if that doesn't work out for you, we're still here and we would love to have you. We love non-traditional students. We love students who go away and come back, and we love students when we're their first pick as well. So I think the one thing to remember is that we love students. We love having you here. We love seeing you on Zoom. We hope to see you in person soon. And we would love for you to come visit the college and see these things in person, because we can tell you about them till we're blue in the face, but there's just something different about being there, seeing the radio station, seeing the Mac lab, and meeting us in person. So I hope we do see you.
Yeah, I would like to add on to that too. Dave actually touched on it earlier that we have a pretty small faculty to student ratio. So you get more one-on-one experience with your faculty or instructor, which I think turns out better for the students in the end. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
One thing that Olivia mentioned that I'll expand on a little bit more too is just the range of students that we have in our classes. We have high school students, we have students who are college age, we have students who are older and returning to college. And I think having folks from all of those different moments in their life really enriches our class discussions, because we have different perspectives and different life experiences that people bring to the table. And I think that that can really add to your college experience.
Just to jump in real quick, I just kind of wanted to share a little bit of my own experience, because maybe it would help some of you out there that are thinking about WVUP. But I went in my freshman year fully committed to the idea that I was only going to go to take my general courses, and then I was going to go away to another university. And I remember Tori Jackson told me that I would come back, that I was going to miss being a Riverhawk, I was going to miss the nest, And I remember halfway through my first semester of my sophomore year at Concord University, I emailed her and said, Tori, the subject line was, "You were right." And I emailed her and I said, "I miss WVUP. I want to come back. Can you please help me like figure out how to do that?" And it was the best decision I have ever made. I made more friends there than I ever thought that I would have. Um, and that's not just including students. I mean, I made friends with faculty, employees, and that has opened up so many doors for me as far as, just my personal growth uh, and for, my career. Um, I really kind of became more of myself there. Um, and, I really would encourage people to really think hard about WVUP and really weigh how great of an opportunity it truly is, because you don't know unless you come there and see it for yourself.
To expand on what Jeremy said, as a student, one of the things I really enjoy best are the smaller class sizes. I'm not a big fan of the lecture style classes. And I feel like it helps create a tight knit community.
So I think it's pretty well demonstrated here this evening that the faculty and staff are articulate, informed, and dedicated to student success. I think that says it all.
Absolutely, I agree. And one of the things that I like to mention from the admissions counselor side of things, I'm not a student from WVP, and I've worked in a lot of different schools from really, really large community colleges to state schools to private schools. And one of the things that's really unique about WVP, and I know keeps me around, is not only are you a face at WVP, like these guys have all said, but the people that work here and who are teaching your classes are here to share the knowledge that they have, and they're professionals in the field that they teach in. So they're working in the field and they have those connections. They're not focused necessarily on research, even though some of them might be doing research on the side. They're here to really make sure that the students here are learning what they need to be successful once they complete their time here as a Riverhawk and go on and out into the career field. Um, as we are wrapping up towards the beginning of our session tonight, there was a QR code on the page on the website, and I am going to go ahead and pull that back up again. If you want more information about any of the programs that we've talked about tonight or any program in general, please go ahead and fill out that QR code. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to have Barbie check and see if we have any questions from the audience.
In regards to scheduling visits, we'd be more than happy to invite anyone who is interested to either go to our website and get valuable information pertaining to all the degrees and services we offer here at WVU Parkersburg, or come on site. We'd be happy to give you a tour so you can explore what all we do have to offer firsthand.
All right, it looks like we may also have a question about the FAFSA and what to do if a student needs help with the FAFSA. We actually have a dedicated staff member that is what I like to call our FAFSA guru. So if you have any questions about filling out the FAFSA, whether it's your first time, your 5th time, or your 100th time, changes, every time it can be scary, any of those times, please reach out to us and we'll get you in contact with that financial aid counselor to help you fill out that FAFSA. Does anybody, it looks like we have a more general question. Does anybody have advice for someone who's not sure what major they want to pursue?
Don't dwell on it. See, that's what it's kind of like going to the store and looking at all the paint colors and not knowing exactly what color you want to paint your room, but you have all these options in front of you. Really, it's kind of just best to just get through the door. Once you do that, you'll gravitate to one thing or another just naturally. So you always have to take your gen ed classes anyway. So instead of putting it off and trying to decide and nail it down and get the perfect plan before you even go, just go, get through the door, get into your classes, and then it'll start to evolve as you go, and you'll start to gravitate to different things and one thing or another. And that's really my best advice for people who've had that question before.
And you can always change your mind. That's fine. I've had so many different majors, so yeah, changing your mind is okay.
I would say also make friends and meet people. Go talk to the different instructors. Like the CMS club, the MAT club, you don't have to be in the CMS program, but if you're interested in CMS and you don't have a major yet, yeah, go to a couple meetings. Go to a couple meetings of somewhere else. Go talk to instructors. Go talk to division chairs. Clearly, we like to talk about ourselves, so we'd be happy to talk to you more.
I would also say talk to the people who are working in the fields that you're considering. I thought I knew what profession I wanted to pursue when I was younger, and when I talked to someone in that field, I realized actually I don't really want to do that on a daily basis, and it helped me narrow and understand my own interests more. So I would say try to find folks who are in that field, and certainly a lot of the professors at WVUP could help you find individuals in the field to speak with.
Definitely where the experiential learning is going to help too. Being out there in the real world with it, deciding if that's right for you or not.
Absolutely. That's all really good advice. Thank you guys for sharing. So we are going to wrap up. Thank you, everybody who has shared a little bit of time with us this evening. I do want to go ahead and remind everybody that this is the third part in a 5-part series showcasing our different divisions and programs. Next week, you can join us on Tuesday at 5:30, same place, to hear more about our nursing and health sciences programs, and then also again on March 30th to hear more about our STEM and industrial technology programs. And I would be remiss to not share with you guys what is coming up here soon. So 2 of the programs that are in the Humanities, Fine Arts, and Social Sciences division are covered by a grant-funded program called WVUP Ascend. And it's the Media Production and Communication Studies Associate degrees. To learn more about the Ascend program and some of the perks that students who are selected to be a part of that study receive, you can join us here again at 7 o'clock tonight. And then also on the 24th at 7 o'clock to hear what all goes into that program, what majors are covered by the program, and then what are some of the perks that you receive. It's a really awesome program to be a part of. It covers a lot of different in-demand fields. And so I wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to the Ascend info sessions because they do cover some of the Humanities, Fine Arts, and Social Sciences programs, but also programs in some of our other divisions. And with that, thank you guys for spending some time with us, and thank you to our presenters for sharing a little bit about their experiences working and studying at WVUP. And I hope that we will see you again next Tuesday. Have a great evening.
Bye, thank you.